Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Nick, how much is this being used by those opposed to Mr. Corbyn to undermine his leadership?
Yes, I mean, certainly, you know, the majority of the PLP do not support Jeremy Corbyn's leadership. A significant number of them would like to get him out, hope to do so after the European Union referendum. That had appeared to go away, and now we have this crisis, so maybe that will come back. But I think that those people who want to get rid of Jeremy Corbyn are not rubbing their hands and saying, oh, isn't there this marvellous row, doesn't this make him look awful? They are, as most people in the Labour Party are, horrified by what this makes the Labour Party look like to the electorate as a whole, and would like to deal with it. I mean, you know, if you have two senior figures running after each other on stairways, whatever the cause, that looks dreadful for voters. But then the issue that you're talking about is obviously this supremely sensitive issue of anti-Semitism, and the people that I talk to who want to get rid of Jeremy Corbyn just loathe what is going on and feel that it's very, very dangerous and sensitive territory for the Labour Party.
Where does it go from here?
It depends entirely on whether the party decides that this is just an embarrassment that can be got over. This is the week that Jeremy Corbyn's leadership stopped being funny. This is really, really serious, and it's not an accident or a mistake of judgment that meant that he didn't get rid of Ken Livingstone immediately. They're very old allies. They go back a long way, and you have to understand the disjuncture of reality. The perception is so confused. I started my life, as you probably know, Andrew, my political life on the left, on the Trotskyist left. I knew people, in fact, I was in Hornsey when Jeremy Corbyn was on the council there. I was in the Hornsey Labour Party. These people talk to each other, socialise with each other, marry each other. They never go outside of their very closed, self-referring political activist circle. So that picture that Jeremy Corbyn's first wife painted of him standing over a hot photocopier eating cold baked beans. We all knew that person in the 1970s. These are people who live in their own closed political frame of reference. That's why there was this horrendous misunderstanding of the significance of what Ken Livingstone had done and said. And when they called John Mann in, they insisted that the Whip's office call in John Mann to be disciplined, as if there was some kind of moral equivalence between what Ken Livingstone had said and what John Mann had said in reprimanding him or becoming outraged with him. That's just another reflection of how out of touch they are.
People will wonder why the Labour Party, which has a long historic track record of fighting racism and has introduced legislation going way back to the 60s on something like this, why does it now have to have an investigation into racism and a code of conduct on racism?
Because they've, at the very least, turned a blind eye to this kind of behaviour, I would imagine, for about 30 years now. I'm only surprised that other people are surprised by this week's incident. In the 1980s, people like Ken Livingstone were espousing views not just on Zionism but on other foreign policy subjects that were strident, to say the least. In 2000, when Tony Blair tried to do something about Ken Livingstone and install Frank Dobson rather than Ken as the London mayoral candidate, a huge part of the party, a huge part of the soft left, not just the hard left, took Ken's side over Tony Blair and Frank Dobson's side. And now we have this week and the disproportionate punishment of John Mann versus Ken. For the pattern of my lifetime, really, is a certain amount of indulgence towards this kind of behaviour. And the only surprise is that it's taken this length of time for it to manifest in an absolutely crystal clear crisis, which I imagine makes the average swing voter look upon Labour as something unpalatable anytime soon.
Well, is it going to have an effect on Thursday's myriad elections?
Well, Sadiq Khan is nervous that it is going to have an effect on him.
For the London Mayor.
For the London Mayor, the Labour candidate for London Mayor. But yes, he nominated Jeremy Corbyn, but he's done a pretty good job of distancing himself from Jeremy Corbyn.
And he was one of the first to come out and criticise Ken Livingstone.
And he did it immediately, although the Conservatives have been running a campaign saying that he's been sharing platforms with Islamist extremists. So he is nervous, but it's probably a bit too late to affect the campaign.
OK.